The flow diagram below represents the food chain of organisms in an ecosystem. State the diagrams carefully and answer the questions after. So the A is asking of name the producer and the primary consumer in a food chain. So this we are seeing here is a food chain, and we are being asked to name the producer. So the producer is rice. That's the producer. And the primary consumer is the beetle. The second question says identify the secondary and tertiary consumers above. So the secondary consumer is the Asian toad, and the tertiary consumer the mongoose. State two roles of rice in the feeding relationship above. So the rice here is the producer. So first of all, we can see that the rice produces its own food using sunlight to convert water and carbon dioxide to starch. And then also is the beginning of a simple food chain. Then the Ivan says describe two roles of the beetle in the relationship. The beetle is responsible for eating the rice in the feeding relationship, and it also serves as food for the Asian toad. The next question says state two roles, each of the Asian toad and the mongoose in the chain. So the Asian toad feeds on the beetle, and then for the mongoose, it feeds on the Asian toad. Now the B, the diagram below shows the induction method of magnetization of an iron bar. Study it and answer the questions that follow. So I outline three steps involved in setting up the experiment. So magnetization by induction. So the first step is to place a bar magnet on a table. And secondly, place the soft iron bar alongside the magnet. Then the third is put a piece of wood in between the two. So this is the wood, this is the bar magnet, and then this is the iron bar. The iron bar is what is going to be magnetized. Then the next one says, how will you test the iron bar has become magnetized? So in order to test that the iron bar is magnetized, you just bring it into contact with a magnetic substance, like let's say a pin or a nail. Then the III says, describe how you test for the two poles of the new magnet. So how do you test? You bring it to the poles of the permanent magnet bar. Then the north pole of the bar magnet will attract the south pole of the new magnet, and then the north pole of the bar magnet will repel the north pole of the new magnet. So you can also go this way, that the south pole of the bar magnet will attract the north pole of the new magnet. Then the Ivan says, explain why the new magnet is described as a temporary magnet. It's described as a temporary magnet because it will lose its magnetic power immediately the permanent magnet is taken off. So this is temporary or temporal magnetization. So we on the C. The diagrams below X and Y shows the structure of two molecules. State the diagrams below carefully and answer the questions that follow. So this question has to do with bonding. So I identify the molecules labeled X and Y. You can see the symbols over here. So we know that this is sodium chloride. That's the name, sodium chloride. And for this, it's hydrogen molecule. Yes. So sodium chloride and then hydrogen molecule for this. Name the atoms that form each of the molecules labeled X and Y. So the atoms that form this are sodium and chlorine. Then the atoms that form this is just hydrogen, two atoms of hydrogen. Name the interatomic bond between X and Y. The interatomic bond between X is ionic or electrovalent. Then the bond between Y is covalent. Then the next question says, describe how interatomic bonds in X are formed. So for ionic or electrovalent bond is a type of chemical bond that involves electrostatic attraction between oppositely charged ions. And this is how the bond forms. There's always a transfer of one electron from the electropositive to the electronegative. When I say electropositive, the positively charged ion, the electronegative, negatively charged ion. So over here, the sodium is positively charged. So there's a transfer of one electron to the chlorine, which is electronegative. Then the vein says, describe how the interatomic bonds in Y are formed. The interatomic bond between the atom of the molecules of Y, which is a hydrogen molecule, is covalent, and this type of bond involves sharing of electrons between two atoms. Now the diagram is not very clear, so this is here like this with the two electrons being shared. Now with the D, we have some agricultural tools. I, identify each of the tools labeled I to vein I. So I, there's a watering can. I, there's a shears. I, hand trowel. I vein is a hand fork. Vein is a garden fork. Then vein I is a spade. State one use of each of the tools from I to vein I. Now the watering can. The watering can is used for applying water to crops and seedlings. Then the shears. The shears are used for trimming hedges to keep them neat and well shaped. Then the hand trowel. Hand trowel is used for transplanting. Then the hand fork. The hand fork is used for loosening soil in a garden bed. Then the vein garden fork. The garden fork is used to turn over the soil in a large garden. Then the vein eye is used for spreading chemicals on a farmland. State two dangers associated with the misuse of agricultural tools. Improper use of them can lead to cuts and bruises to the user, and also improper use can lead to damage or breakage of the tool. Then the IV. Give two general ways of maintaining agricultural tools. So the general way is to oil and grease the metal parts and also keep the wooden handles strong. And the section B, question 2, begins with this. Describe two practices involved in sustainable waste management. So we have one, reduce. To reduce means what? Minimize waste generation and avoiding unnecessary packaging. Also, we can talk about recycle, the process where materials like paper, plastic, and then glass are used to make new products. So the IIC states three impacts of waste substances on the environment. So the impact. One, accumulated waste can increase the risk of diseases and infections. And also, waste substances can lead to the loss of biodiversity or imbalance in the ecosystem. State four advantages of renewable energy sources. So one, they are cost effective in a long run, and also they can be used in remote areas. Also, it is sustainable and inexhaustible, and it has low or no emissions. I give two disadvantages of renewable energy sources. They are very costly. They have high upfront costs. That's at the beginning. For example, the solar panel. And also, there are challenges when it comes to the storage of the energy. The C says, give four benefits of planting crops and seed beds. So it provides optimal conditions for seed germination, and also a seedbed acts as a nutrient reserve for young plants. Seedbeds retain adequate water for germination, and also a seedbed minimizes risk of seedling diseases. II says, name 4 common farm tools used to prepare seedbeds. So we have the hose, the rake. Yes, we have the hoe and the rake. Then the D, list 6 structures found in prokaryotic cell. So organelles found in a prokaryotic cell. We have the cytoplasm, the cell membrane, the cell wall, the ribosome, the nucleoid, and then the flagella. Then the II says, state 2 differences between prokaryotic and a eukaryotic cell. So 1, the eukaryotic cell, they reproduce by cell division. Then the prokaryotic cell, they reproduce by binary fission. Also, the eukaryotic cell, the nuclear material is found in the nucleus. But with the prokaryotic cell, the nuclear material is found in the cytoplasm. And next question, question 3. Explain how a capacitor differs from a battery. Capacitor stores energy in an electric field, while battery stores energy chemically. Application of capacitors. State 4 applications of capacitors. So capacitors are used in a flash camera, in a UPS, uninterrupted power supply. It's also used in electric fences. It's used in a laser system, and it's also used in audio equipment. Next question. Give 2 properties of ionic compounds. Okay, so ionic compounds, they have a high melting point and high boiling point, and also most of these ionic compounds are soluble in water. When it comes to covalent compounds, they generally have low melting and low boiling points, and their aqueous forms do not conduct electricity. Then the C. Give 2 characteristics of trees found on a mountain. So 1, their leaves are needle-like, and also they have sloping branches. Then the next question says, give 4 reasons why the supply of water is important for plants and animals. So what do plants and animals use water for? Alright, so animals need water to stay hydrated and healthy. Water helps animals to regulate their temperature, body temperature. Water is crucial for digestion and nutrient absorption in animals. And then water is also essential for cells function properly. Now for plants, water helps them to absorb and transport nutrients. Also, water helps plant cell structure and prevents wilting. The water cools down plants through transpiration. And water helps to dissolve minerals in the soil so that the plants can absorb them through the roots. Then the D. How many each of molars, premolars, canines, and incisors can be found in the mouth of humans? So for the molar, there are 12. 6 in the upper jaw, 6 in the lower jaw. Premolar, 8. 4 in the lower jaw, 4 in the upper jaw. Canine, 4. 2 in the lower jaw, 2 in the upper jaw. Then incisor, 8. 4 in the lower jaw, 4 in the upper jaw. Then I give the function of the molars, premolars, canine, and incisors. So the molar is used for grinding food. The premolar is used for tearing and also grinding food. The canine is used for tearing flesh. And the incisor is for cutting food. The next question, question 4 or A. What's the difference between a simple machine and a complex machine? So a simple machine is a device that makes work easier by changing direction and magnitude of the force. While a complex machine is a combination of 2 or more simple machines working together. to make work easier. II. State the use of each of the following complex machines. Escalator. Escalators are used in moving staircases. Then a crane. A crane is a machine which is used to lift heavy materials. Then a 4B. List 4 important food safety practices. So proper hand washing, and also separation of raw and cooked foods. Also refrigerate properly, and also avoid using expired products. Then the II says identify 4 symptoms of foodborne illnesses. So you can have vomiting, diarrhea, headache, and then fever. The C says give 4 signs of climate change. 4 signs of climate change. So 1. Rising global temperatures, rise of sea level, extreme weather events, then increased acidity of the ocean waters, and then change in rainfall patterns. Outline 4 measures needed to cope with climate change. So 1. Transitioning to the use of renewable energy. Afforestation. Also promote sustainable agricultural practices, and also practice water conservation management. Draw the electronic structures of hydrogen and oxygen. So for hydrogen, just has 1 electron. So just 1. That's for hydrogen. Then for oxygen, oxygen has 8 electrons. Your nucleus, first shell, your second shell. First shell takes 2 electrons. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So this is a structure for hydrogen, a structure for oxygen. Now the next thing is to write a word equation and a balanced chemical equation between them. So the word equation for hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen plus oxygen give you water. Good. And then the balance equation, that's where you use the symbols. Now the balance equation, hydrogen is a molecule, so H2 plus O2. Then in order to write the product, you need to exchange the valency. So H and then O. Hydrogen has a valency of 1, oxygen has a valency of 2. So when you exchange the valencies, you have H going for the 2, then O going for the 1. Now this isn't balanced. Since it's not balanced, how do you balance it? Check for the number of atoms. 2 atoms of hydrogen, 2 atoms of oxygen, and 2 atoms of hydrogen over 1 atom of oxygen. So 1. Now to balance, you multiply by 2. And when you multiply by 2, the 2 has to affect it. In this state, put the 2 in front. Now this 2 tends to affect the hydrogen as well. So hydrogen now becomes 4. So since hydrogen is 4 on the right side, which is the product side, what happens is you have to now multiply 2 by what you have on the left side as well. So you have 2 here. So you have 4 atoms of hydrogen here, 2 atoms of oxygen, 4 atoms of hydrogen, 2 atoms of oxygen as well. This is a balanced equation. Yes. So the next question, what is commercial farming? Commercial farming refers to a large-scale production of agricultural products, primarily for sale, which is opposite of subsistence farming, which just has to do with the farmer just farming to feed his family. List four crops known for commercial cultivation. So we can have mango, we can also have oil palm, we can have cocoa, we can have coffee. Then the next one, state two characteristics of planets. So a planet orbits a star. So for example, the Earth is a planet, so the star it orbits is the sun. In fact, one of them, the sun. A planet also has a spherical shape. The next question is define terrestrial planets and give four examples. So a terrestrial planet is a planet that has a rocky surface and also has metals. So it's just more like a rocky planet. Example is the Earth. We have Mars, Venus, and then Mercury. Then explain the following terms and then give two examples. So we start with a solute. Solute refers to the substance that is dissolved in a solvent to form a solution. Example, sugar. Yes, sugar in water and also salt. Yes, salt also in water. Then we have the next one, solvent. A solvent is a substance capable of dissolving other substances to form a solution. Two examples. So the first example, we have water, and then we also have turpentine, which can be used to dissolve oil paint. The next one is a solution. So a solution is a homogeneous mixture of a solvent and a solute, which are evenly distributed at the molecular level. A solution is a homogeneous mixture of a solute and a solvent, evenly distributed at the molecular level. Example, we have um, brass, which is zinc and copper. We also have sugar solution. Now, Ivan, what's a suspension? It's a mixture in which small solid particles are dispersed throughout a liquid and settle over time. Example, mud in water, the heavy rainfall, and also blood. And there leads to stages in the life cycle of a mosquito, which occur in water. So we have egg, we also have larva, both occur in water. Then give two benefits of the knowledge of the life cycle of a mosquito. It helps to understand their biology and their behavior. And this knowledge can also help you to develop effective strategies to control and prevent diseases.